welcome. Thank you, Stano, for a beautiful opening speech and ask a very difficult question. Can we be resilient? How can we be resilient from the core, right? And I'm honored to be here to share with all of you some of our experience transforming companies together with the Consulus team. And I'm honored to open the track for track 1, Future Resilience in Enterprise. So with me for track 1, we will have Wilson Theo from Theo Garment Group. He will share about the traditional enterprise, how the transformation will be like. And then I will also have Stephen Raj. Yes, he will also share with us about how to use digital to transform a company to become more resilient. So I will start first. So how to use data to shape approaches for future resilience. So future resilience is the ultimate goal for all the enterprises, right? Over the past 2 years, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Consulus has the pleasure and the privilege to serve 17 social enterprises. And for social enterprises, what does it mean? Meaning they have a social mission in addition to being an enterprise, a business. They come from 9 sectors, including logistics, wellness, education, marketplace, e-commerce, retail, F&B, business services, personal services, agri-tech or agriculture technology. So everywhere, very, very diverse industries. And during the projects with them, when we first started, a lot of them share they lost more than 70% of cash flow. Also businesses in terms of profit margins, in terms of cash flows, as I mentioned, and also in terms of clients. So a lot of problems related to COVID-19, that's what they share. However, when we study the business data further, we collected a lot of data about the business, and we found out that the business, many of them already in problems, have problems even before the pandemic. So the pandemic is only the tipping point to trigger the bigger problem for them. And in other words, even though every business wants to be resilient, future resilient, but they can't complain, they can't blame COVID-19 is the main reason. So let's have a look at all the, I need to, yes. So what we have done for all the social enterprises, we look at the 12 underpinning elements or problems for, so we look at the 12 underpinnings components to see where is the problems coming from. So let's have a look. Can you see it? I'm still making use of everything. So let's make the first step right. Take a close look at the 12 underpinning factors of resilience. As you can see here, a lot of numbers, a lot of colors. And if you see red, meaning is dangerous or critical. If it's orange, meaning is insufficient, inefficient. If it's light green, meaning is satisfactory. If it's dark green, meaning is optimal. Yeah, so here we analyze the 12 factors underpinning the resilience of all the enterprises. And if you look across, the majority of the companies, they didn't have any problems with the staff. So internal problems don't have any problems. So they also don't have problems with operations. The majority of the problems comes from the relationships. So they focus in the process of running the business, they focus a lot on fulfillment, making things happen in terms of, okay, if they get the purchase order, if they get the deal, then they just try to fulfill it. But they didn't spend a lot of time building the relationship with the customers, building relationships with the suppliers, So that's the main underpinning problems of a lot of business that we have have been serving over the past 2 years. And so have a look at this, right? How to use the data to change or to adjust your approach for future resilience. So once you are aware of the current situation, using all these numbers and statistics and colors to understand, now what to do with it? Are we even more panicking? No. Are we, if all of you just now listened to Stano's speech, right, about the corporate vaccine for resilience, is the 4 factors. So this is the compass for all the companies that we can use to have, use it as a reference point to check, okay, 4C, what are we strong at and what are the areas that we need to improve further so that we can be future resilient. So look at these 4 components of the corporate vaccines for resilience. We have what? Cost-driven. Is the organization cost-driven? Do they have a purpose to believe in? Do they have a cause to fight for? Is it only limited to the top management or all the employees of the firm? So that's the first one. So for all of this social enterprise, they have a very strong mission, the social impact mission. So the first one, the cost-driven, is already there. So out of the 4 factors or 4 components of the corporate vaccine for they don't have any problem with the first C, cost-driven, because they are social enterprise. So we believe that, and everyone believes that. So the other 3 components that a lot of them have problems with are creative vision, competent pivot, and culture of trust. So based on the data of the current situation of the company, we Consulus team jump in and help them to develop, to improve only the components that are missing or are weak to make sure that they are resilient. They have the strong dose of corporate vaccines for resilience. So for example, in terms of creative vision, we work with the team, a lot of teams to build the leadership development so that they can have stronger vision, they have a better idea of how to move, how to run the business moving forward. And so we build the whole ecosystem for them around the purpose, around the social impact of the business. That's for creative vision. Then for competent pivot, we work with a lot of companies to identify the capabilities, that the competencies that they are missing, so then they can improve the operations efficiencies and increase profits margins instead of only revenues. A lot of this business that we have been working with, they focus a lot on revenue, but not the profit. So that's where the competent pivot has to come in to develop, to fill in the gap so that they can increase the profit margins for the business. The third one, for culture of trust. Yes, a lot of these companies, they believe in the social mission of the business, of the social enterprise, but the culture of trust, because they are very busy doing instead of being, so the culture of trust is not cultivated yet. So as part of this process with them to make them more resilient, we work with them to put in place a culture system, more just simple practice so that they can share, they can unite, they can bond, they can build trust, to feel safe to be themselves in the organization. Because once they have the trust system, then they can drive the business together with the business owner. So just some proven results of the first cohort. So just to explain, the 17 enterprise that we work with are comprising of 2 cohorts, 2 years. And this is the result, some feature results, proven results from the first year of working with them. So you can see in terms of revenue, this is how we can track, even though I mentioned about profit, but we are not sharing here. In terms of social impact, they can see a very clear increase in terms of social impact, 48%. In terms of workforce in retainment, meaning how can they retain the employees, the employment, provide the employment to all the companies, this is a 6% increase. So even though this is the first year, meaning it was still with, during the COVID-19 pandemic, they can see the results. They can see the improvement even within the pandemic. So hopefully very soon we will be able to see the results of the recent cohort, because COVID-19 is over and they have a stronger dose for corporate vaccine for resilience. So that's my sharing.